Welcome to Boardless Diaries. Today I'm joined with Tom. We actually know each other from our studies, not in the same field because Tom works in healthcare, but what's where our paths first crossed. And that was the start of a years of long distance relationship here in the friendship that we have. And we even traveled together in New Zealand. What was fascinating after our studies is that Tom went and lived in Australia for several years, going through the entire process of trying to build a career there in Australia. And then with COVID and all of the challenges, he decided to return to the Netherlands. And what I want to dive in today is what does it mean to have a dream that didn't exactly work out the way that you planned? And how did you go from there? So, Tom, welcome to the podcast.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yeah. And Tom, every guest starts with the same question. So, what was one of the most unforgettable, funny, or downright awkward experience you've had while adjusting to a new life in a new country? You had so
Uh,
many awkward moments.
yeah, 100%. And it's been a hell of a journey. Amazing memories. I think, yeah, I have a couple of times that I've been there, and then it was on one point on what the hell am I doing? For example, when I went to the papaya farm to extend my visa, and I went across Australia with almost no money, and I told my landlord like, yeah, I'm going to do something crazy. Can I keep my stuff here and hopefully can come back in 2 days if I get scammed? So yeah, I went across Australia and yeah, get picked up by a random guy to work at a papaya farm for 3 months. So I think that's yeah, I think one of the most yeah impactful things. I
Yeah.
I guess also met
Yeah.
amazing people over there, also at the university, of course. But after that period, I was like, yeah, what can I do with my life?
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when you moved to Australia, you had a moment of, well, actually, you moved because you got scammed at the first apartment, right?
Yes, even before I went to Australia, I already had a bumpy ride. I
Yeah.
got scammed for approximately like 1,200 euros instead of living on the site at the universities at one of the units because I looked at like, shall I go to the unit or look for housing myself and for expenses and stuff. So I chose to go off-site and look for housing for myself. And in the end, I got scammed. I was already cautious by the whole process. And yeah, it felt not okay to do it, but yeah, I got
Yeah.
photos, picture of a passport and stuff like that. Had good conversations, but yeah, I had to give money I had for like
Yeah.
before something broke down.
A
You
deposit.
yeah, deposit. Thanks. You had to give a deposit for I think what's 800 euros. But I had sent it to England instead of Australia, so that was a bit odd. But yeah, it's a bit of
Oh,
story of her mother lives over there, living
yeah.
in her house with her mom. It's like, yeah, doesn't feel, but in the end, I did it, and
Yeah.
then I had in 2 weeks I still had contact, and a week before I went, she didn't respond anymore, and then I was like, it doesn't feel right. So I
Oh,
contacted the website where I
yeah.
found the house, and she said, no, it's a known scammer. Break all the contact, and I'm like, yeah, shit.
Oh my gosh.
I
Yeah, I
screwed.
remember.
Yeah,
But that meant that you lived on campus with us, which was a lot of fun.
exactly,
So I think in the
exactly.
end, it was actually a good experience
Of
because we had
100%.
quite a close friendship group, I would say, when we were
Totally.
all living on campus. So take me back, Tom. Where did your dream of living or working in Australia begin for you?
When I was a little boy, I always wanted to go snorkeling in New Zealand. My mom had a boyfriend, or for a long time. They always said because they knew I want to go snorkeling in New Zealand. Said, when we get married, then we go snorkeling in New Zealand. But they're never gonna marry because he didn't want to, and my mom didn't want to anymore. So it was just yeah, a
Yeah.
promise to a little boy that never comes through. So when I got older, and they always mocking me with it,
One day.
then yeah, and then in the university, where I did my nursing, Bachelor of Nursing, they introduced a program to in your third year you could go for internship in different countries. But most of them were third world countries, and I didn't feel attracted to it or the countries
Mhm.
they offered. And then I asked, can I go to a different country? It's like, do your thing, but it's going to be a lot. It will cost you, and it's
Mm.
not that easy. So yeah, I tried to set it up. So looked online for New Zealand or Australia, and I saw that a lot of people were going to or tried to get to Australia.
Mhm.
So That's how I started. In the end, it worked. Took a lot of effort.
Yeah.
Also, people from Kilroy. Do you know Kilroy by
Yeah.
any chance?
Yeah, the travel
Kilroy helped me with
agency.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they helped me with to enroll to the university and helped me in the whole process because I was the first
Oh.
nursing student of my university who went to Australia, and I was also
Mhm.
the first Dutch nursing student at the university from the Netherlands. So
I
everything was
didn't
new.
know that Kilroy also helped with that stuff. I know them as a travel agency, so that's good. But I didn't know that they actually helped you with all of that. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's really good. And Tom, what was the process like of actually getting started in the healthcare sector over there?
It was rough.
Yeah.
It was really hard. Yeah, they didn't recognize my degree. By the time, so after my study, I had to change visa. So that's why we also went to New Zealand together.
Yeah.
When I came back to Australia, I tried to apply for a lot of jobs, but I didn't have my degree yet because I had to finish my thesis and I didn't do it yet. And was in the final phases, but I didn't finish it yet. So I told them like I got a lot of experience in the elderly care, a little bit of hospital working experience.
Mhm.
And I got the first degree of yeah, a little degree of like the Bachelor of the Netherlands, but they didn't recognize it. They didn't even respond to my applications. That was also what I had to get used to in the
Mhm.
Netherlands. When you apply to something, they tell you that yeah, it's nice
Yeah.
that you apply for a job, but we are not interested. Didn't hear anything.
Yeah.
I sent over 60 applications to try to getting work for like 3 months. Didn't receive.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, no dream comes without its challenges. What was the hardest part of trying to build that life and career? Because in the end, you started working on those farms and you traveled around, etc. But your dream never really stopped from having a career over there in that healthcare sector. What was that hardest part for you then?
I think finding a job or yeah, because I'm a nurse, so I should be a registered nurse in Australia. But I
Mm.
worked as a care worker, and I wanted to get to my recognized level, but I needed to get a registration, and then I didn't have one yet, or at least in Australia. Later on in the Netherlands, but
Mhm.
yeah, I still had to finish my thesis. But my money was running low, so that's why I also went to the farm to get money, but also trying to stay in Australia because. I've been there already for 6 months or so, and if I wanted to do 3 months of farm work, choose the right work that fits me because I'm also colorblind. And being helpful to get the right farm job. So yeah, so I had to make a gamble, and that's why
Yeah.
I also did the farm work. I came back to the Netherlands and tried to start again, but then in Melbourne instead
Yeah.
of Perth.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. And at what point did you start to realize, like, this maybe is not gonna turn out the way that I have in mind?
Especially when I was in Perth, no one responded at all. In Melbourne, a couple yeah answered, but they said, "Yeah, you don't." Or by the time I had my degree though, but they didn't looking for people. And later on, I find through a friend of mine, she knew someone who worked in an elderly home with Dutch residents from the Second World War, and that's how I found that job and stayed there for 9 months. That's I knew like, oh, I got a little bit of a chance, but especially the rough start of Perth and then a little bit rough in Melbourne, and my money was running low. I was like, I really need to find something.
Yeah.
Thinking of doing some Uber, but then I have to go by bike with the hills. Yeah, the Netherlands is flat. That's all right, but not the bumpy roads in the Melbourne. Not for
Yeah.
me.
Not for me. Yeah, I remember that. And then COVID hit, obviously. How did that change the direction of your life and your career? Because I
Well,
think that that was the moment when you moved back, right?
the Netherlands said that I wanted to close the borders because of COVID.
Mhm.
And by the time I already worked the maximum yeah, amount of days because I was still on a working holiday visa. I
Yeah.
couldn't, if I remember correctly, you can only stay for 6 months by the same work unless if you change the visa. So I got
Yeah.
my second year working holiday visa, so I could stay there over there for 3 months longer.
Mhm.
So I stayed for 9 months at the same workplace, and I also applied for a different job. But because I got some working experience in Melbourne, it was a little bit easier to find a new job, but still hard.
Mhm.
And yeah, the nursing home that I checked out, I didn't feel right. Feel a bit off. It was closer to my friends though, but
Mhm.
I also had to move. And yeah, I found some not great work.
Mhm.
And what did I do more? Oh yeah, I also tried to apply for my registered to get a registration in Australia because I had my degree.
Yeah.
Uh, oh, I totally forgot. I also had to do an English test, the
Oh,
IELTS.
yeah. Yeah.
That's why I failed 5 times. That's why it took so long. I forgot something. That was
Yeah.
the hardest part.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember. The
totally forgot.
IELTS,
Yeah, I had to take it 5 times because I constantly failed the writing part.
yeah. But you did pass in the end, right?
Yeah, in the end,
Yeah.
the fifth time,
Yeah.
and it took me, I think 6, 7 months or so. Also
Yeah.
took some English lessons from a coworker. His dad was an English teacher. Outside of my work, he taught me how to write better, or yeah, to improve my vocabulary.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the end, I got it. I think it was in January or so, or beginning of February. Tried to apply for the registration, and one of the boxes that I had to tick was first. It was not compulsory.
Mhm.
They wanted 3 months of working experience of 400 hours or so. I cannot really remember.
Yeah.
But first was just an option to tick off that box, and then yeah, it can be helpful for the project progress, but,
Yeah.
really. But since January that year, I think it was 2022, 20? Can't really remember. But it changed the rule. It was compulsory to get working experience. So I called the registration. Happened. I had to be on the phone for like 4 hours, explaining my situation. Told them I got working experience, but as an intern. But I did jobs as an nurse, as an enrolled
Yeah.
nurse instead of a registered nurse. But in the Netherlands, it would count.
Yeah.
But EPRA, the Australian Health Program Registration Association, didn't recognize. So they told me you can go to do a program. Will take you 3 months, but will cost
Mhm.
you 10,000 euros or 10,000 Australian dollars.
Yeah.
Or I had to go back to the Netherlands, get working experience, and then
Yeah.
try again. So I had to move jobs or change jobs, had to move houses, couldn't enroll unless I got or enough more money or I had to go back home.
Yeah.
And then COVID also struck.
Yeah.
And in the Netherlands, they were trying or wanted to close their borders and were like,
Yeah.
too much stress.
Yeah.
And so I chose to go back, but I wanted to
Yeah.
travel a little bit more around Melbourne because I didn't
Yeah.
do it a lot because I was more focused on my career than traveling.
Yeah.
It's because of the Netherlands. Yeah, because of the Netherlands government,
Yeah.
I chose to fly back, but
Yeah.
all the flights were selling out. It was really stressful because I booked the
Yeah.
flight and it changed the prices. Literally seconds, it was like 300 euros more and more. So I took an one way back to the Netherlands, it's me 1,600 euros, and normally you get a return flight.
Oh, yeah, I remember. I remember that time. And after everything, you decided to return and you were there. What was that transition like? Because you left a dream basically
Mhm.
behind that you worked so hard for. You were relatively close or getting closer to that dream while you also lived a little bit of that dream. What was that transition like then moving back to the Netherlands?
It was a little bit rough and it felt kind of like failing, even though I didn't fail because,
Yeah.
yeah, it was just, yeah, bad luck, I think.
Mhm.
Because I did my best. Also,
Yeah.
had constantly trying to do the English stats. It took me some time to get lessons. It still failed, so I wasn't on time. So it kind of felt like failing. But yeah, the
Yeah.
dream was not over
Mhm.
because I still could try, but from the Netherlands. But I knew it's going to be harder.
Yeah.
And getting back to life, even though it's also um, a rich country, I came back to the Netherlands, especially the social pressure
Mhm.
in Europe or West Europe is yeah way more than Australia. Everything is there way more chill back, and that's what
Yeah.
I really have to get used to. People are getting annoyed if you don't respond to WhatsApp or calls. In Australia, if you feel like it, you can respond. And otherwise, nope. That's the yeah most memorable thing.
Yeah,
And
that
yeah,
mindset. Yeah,
yeah, but it was great to see my family and friends again.
of course. And I think if I, look at our friendship as well, I think we took a little bit of that chillness that we had in Australia, like laid back. If you respond, you respond. If not, like I will talk to you in 4 months. It's still
Yes.
fine. So I definitely recognize that
Mm.
social pressure. And did you feel like when you moved back, did you feel like you were giving up on that dream, or did it also make space for something new and like a new adventure for you?
I tried to get back. First, I took 2 months off when I arrived to get back to friends and family, see
Yeah,
them. Also, yeah, because I lived for 2 years by myself and I had to move back to my mom. So I also get used to that. Way different life, of course. So after 2 months or ish, I applied for a job
Mhm.
at a surgery ward in a hospital close by. I got that job, so I was thinking, gonna work for 6 months or so, get back my nursing school skills because, yeah, I didn't have any yet because I was just graduated. So I
Yeah.
thought, "Okay, get my skills, and then from the Netherlands, apply for my
Yeah.
registration." But COVID also through, and yeah, that's what was also a little bit rough. And in the end, I also got long COVID, and that took, yeah, that's when the hardest part came.
Yeah.
Not no, this is not just a ill or a flu. It took me 1.5 year of my life.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. That was a very tough time for you.
Mhm.
What do you carry the most with you from your time in Australia, and do you still carry that right now? Did it shape your life?
The traveling, especially,
Mhm.
because I remember uh, that I wanted to see some kangaroos. My landlord told me, "You want to see some kangaroos?" Because I haven't seen one yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I know a great place. So he took me by car and we drove. He said, it's around the corner, 10, 15 minutes. So he drove. 20 minutes passed, 45 hours, an hour. I was like, damn. I thought it's driving. Yeah, it's still like an hour or so. I said, you sit around the corner, man. I said, it's fucking 2 hours. He said, that's what we call like, yeah, around the corner. 6 hours is a drive. A long way. Didn't we sit in the car for 24 hours or so? I'm like, we call it a holiday in the Netherlands. For 2 hours, we stay for the weekend. Stop for
And we're in a whole different country.
that's yeah, it was really insane, and that also made me realize I'm also getting used to like the long traveling.
Yeah.
Yeah, to not give up. So some
Yeah.
friends of mine, or yeah, everyone's getting older, everyone's moving away.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be to be an obstacle to don't see them
Yes.
anymore.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's the most important part. Even though yeah, sometimes of course you're tired or busy and it
Yeah.
doesn't fit your schedule, but it made me easier. It's to still see them, even though like traveling for 2 3 hours. I don't care because I still can see my
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's true. I think if I look back at the Netherlands, it's kind of like if everything is within that little bubble and like 15-minute drive, that's like, okay, I will drive 15 minutes. But everything past that 15 minutes
Yeah,
mark, it's almost like that's too far.
yeah, it's too long. Like this
Yeah.
Friday night.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
very different. Very different.
and it makes it then harder to see them more like longer,
Yeah.
even though they live close by, really close by, and then you will not see them for like 2 3 months unless they're
Yeah.
coming to you. Doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense.
True. And also, didn't you see kangaroos in Perth with us?
Yeah, later. Yeah, they were in
Oh,
Perth.
okay. I was
This
like,
is also a nice
why?
spot. It was at the graveyard.
Oh, yeah, because we did
Well,
a couple of trips as well in Australia, which was beautiful, and we saw, I think, a ton of different types of animals.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, and also just in Perth itself, I think it was called Harrison Island. That we went by when we rented some bikes and we drove around.
That wasn't with me, I think. When you say bike, I was probably not there. I hate biking. So probably if you if you ask me, do you want to go on a bike ride, I will be like, no, thank you.
I remember some other people. That was the day that I didn't leave my helmet on or remove my helmet.
Yeah.
Because you can see me on every picture. I still got my helmet on.
Yeah, I do remember those trips though. Like it was a lot of fun. My favorite one was when we did like that longer trip in the south and we did some camping trips and stuff like that with the two
Oh,
French guys,
with the
remember? That
French
was a
guys.
lot of fun as well.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
funny.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Right? So Tom, for anyone that's listening now and that has a dream that didn't really exactly turn out the way that they imagined or they worked for, what would you tell them?
Yeah, don't give up. If it's your dream, try to chase it. And if you did everything you could and still failed, don't see it as failing.
Yeah.
That's what I also did. In
Yeah.
the
Yeah, that's
end,
good.
I still tried to get my registration, and after COVID, I tried to get it, but then they told me that my IELTS test got it was
True.
overdue date. It was only valid for 2 years, and I didn't know. They didn't tell me. So
Yeah.
in the end, I had to go back to step 1, and I didn't talk and speak anymore in English that I used
Yeah.
to. I'm not that fluently anymore. So I was like, yeah, that was basically hopeless.
Yeah.
Don't yeah, keep chasing and don't see it as failing, and it's gonna
Yeah.
be a bumpy road.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And how do you look back on your time in Australia now? Does it feel unfinished or does it feel complete and it's just part of your bigger journey in life?
If you asked me this question 2 years ago, it felt unfinished.
Mhm.
But as I'm getting older, I'm more satisfied. Still feels unfinished though, but not as
Mhm.
much as if you
Yeah.
asked me 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Because I still really wanted to be an RN. and tried to work over there. Also really good as for my work experience to go to a different country. Worked as an
Yeah.
RN over there. Or now I'm an ER nurse. I wanted to go maybe to the ER over there. Maybe it's getting easier now, but I don't know. But
Yeah.
not feeling like trying it out now because I also just bought an apartment and to try to go to the other side of the world, spend a lot of money and make the risk of losing it all and then had to go back to my mom. I'm getting too old for that.
Yeah. Well, your mom is very nice, but I can
Well, yeah, I
imagine
love
that
her. I
that
love
is
her,
maybe a
but
bit much.
yeah, there's a line. There's a line,
Yeah.
and I don't want to move back anymore.
No, I can imagine. And your apartment is really nice as well. And you worked hard for that as well, right? So I
Yes,
can imagine. And you
definitely,
can only spend your money once. So
exactly.
I think that
Yeah,
that is really good.
yeah,
So,
definitely
Tom,
want to go
we're
back though.
about
But
to wrap up a little bit. So, in every episode, we're going to do a little bit of a quick fire before we close out. So, quick answer to this one. What do you still miss the most about Australia or a life abroad? I said quick answer, Tom.
oh, sorry, the variability, like people doing like random stuff, like popping up, like want to go
Yeah,
to the club, want to go for a day trip, want to go for a couple of day trips. Yeah, everyone is more open, especially like because yeah, you met a lot of other people from other countries. They still want to see stuff and want to go do some
yeah,
stuff. That's what I really miss.
yeah. It's quite spontaneous life abroad.
Yeah, yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
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 that's true.
that's what I'm. Yeah,
Yeah. And what do you love the most about being back in the Netherlands?
seeing my friends and family.
Yeah.
That's what I also I went abroad, missed some important life
Hmm.
milestones, like
Yeah.
the passing of my grandma, the birth of my nephew I missed. It was also the first time I became
Yeah.
an uncle. I missed that one. Yeah, but that's also the different milestones of my friends that I miss. And that's how I already knew that I'm never gonna live abroad. I still
Hmm.
want to go abroad, but yeah, I don't want to live abroad. And that's what made
Yeah.
me think, oh no,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah, I recognize that. I think it's never it's a kind of a double feeling, right? Because you like being abroad and live abroad, etc., but in that same time, you're missing those important milestones. And I think that those moments hit the hardest, right? And that is the only thing that is kind of like making me as well like do I want to go back? I'm missing these important things. And it's just never an easy answer to that. But I definitely recognize that. I think that that will be one of my go-tos if I want to go back. It would be for the milestones of others. But yeah, if you had to sum up your international journey in one piece of advice for the people that are listening today, what would it be?
Yeah, what I told you earlier, just keep going. 'Cause I never made it to Australia if I didn't keep trying. I
Yeah.
set it up by myself. That's why I went to university. I kept applying for jobs, and that in the end, I went to the farm, met amazing friends over there. Came back for in Melbourne, kept chasing. Fortunately, I couldn't stay there longer than I wanted to. In the end, because I just kept going, and then
Yeah.
I made it.
Yeah. Yeah. You stayed there for what, 2.5 years, I think?
Something like yeah, a little bit, yeah, 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2.5 years or so, and 2 years of
Yeah, I
working
think so,
holidays.
but I
And
mean, you
yeah,
know your
yeah, 2.5
timeline.
years.
Yeah. Well, Tom, this is going to be the wrap up. So thank you
Fine.
so much for telling your story so honestly. It's such an important reminder that every dream doesn't necessarily have to work out the way that we picture it, and that's okay. But you can still enjoy that journey and what is matter, what you take away from it and how you keep on moving forward. So thank you for being part of the Boardless Diaries. And to all that are listening today, thank you for being part of this community. And tell me, what is something that you've dreamt about but didn't work out the way that you wanted to? Share it in the comments and drop us a follow. Till next week. Thank you.
See ya.